Hello, good day. How are you today? You're good, right? Okay. Are you ready for today's lesson? You are? That is good. Today in basic science, we are going to be looking at flooding and erosion. Okay? Our topic for today in basic science is on flooding and erosion. Flooding and erosion are natural processes that shape the Earth's surface. Flooding occurs when there is an overflow of water onto normal dry land, while erosion involves the removal of soil and rock from one location to another. Okay? Do we understand? So first we are going to be looking at erosion. Erosion is when wind, water, ice, or gravity slowly take away dirt and rocks from one place and move them somewhere else. It's like nature's way of reshaping the land over a very long time, making hills, valleys, and changing landscapes. Okay? So erosion is like nature's way of wearing down and moving things on Earth's surface. Do we understand? Good. We're going to be looking at agents of erosion. Agents of erosion. Water. Rainwater and flowing rivers can wash away soil and rocks. It's like a nature scrubbing brush for the land. So rain and flowing rivers act like a gentle artist, washing away bits of soil and rock. Okay? Wind. Wind can carry tiny bits of soil and sand, making it feel like nature is blowing away the land. Wind acts like a soft artist. Wind carries tiny pieces of soil, shaping the land over time. Ice. In cold places, ice can break rocks apart and move them when it melts. So in cold areas, ice breaks rocks and moves them as it melts, leaving its mark. Gravity. Gravity pulls things down, so rocks and soil can move downhill over time. Gravity, like a silent force. Gravity pulls things down, making rocks and soil slide or roll. So these are the agents of erosion. These helpers work together to give the earth its unique look. Okay? So next we're going to be looking at types of erosion. There are various types of erosion. Okay? 1. Sheet erosion. Imagine a tiny layer of soil being gently washed away by rain. This is like a gentle, even scrubbing on the land. Okay? Sheet erosion is the removal of tiny layers of soil. Do we understand that? Giller erosion. This is when water makes deep channels or dishes in the ground, like carving a path in the dirt. Formation of deep channels. Okay? Picture tiny rivers forming on land, carving deep channels over time. Wind erosion. In windy places, the wind can carry away tiny particles of soil, making the land seem to disappear bit by bit. Wind carrying gentle particles away gently, like a natural brush. Glacial erosion. When big ice glaciers move, they can scrape the land, taking rocks and soil with them. In icy places, glaciers scrape and shape the land, moving rocks along. Okay? Gravity erosion. Gravity pulls things downhill, so rocks and dirt can slide or tumble down slopes, slowly changing the shape of the land. It's like nature's slide, where rocks and soil move downhill over time. Okay? So these are the types of erosion: sheet erosion, gully erosion, wind erosion, glacial erosion, and gravity erosion. Okay? So next we're going to be looking at prevention of erosion. How can we prevent erosion to keep the ground safe and sound? Plant trees and grass. Planting trees and grass helps hold the soil in place with their roots, like nature's anchors. So growing trees and grass to hold the soil, okay, it's like nature's glue. Use terraces. In hilly areas, we can build terraces or steps in the land to slow down water and prevent it from washing soil away. Imagine making stairs on hills to slow down water and protect the soil, okay? Erosion control mats. Sometimes we use special mats or blankets on slopes to keep soil from moving. We can use special mats on slopes, putting a cozy blanket on the ground, okay, to keep the soil from moving. Don't overplow. Farmers can avoid plowing their fields too much, which can expose the soil to erosion. Farmers can be careful not to plow too much, okay, so the soil can stay happy. Okay, so by doing these simple things, we help the land stay strong and stop it from getting washed away. Do we understand? Good. So next we're going to be looking at flooding. Flooding means that a large amount of water overflows over areas that are typically dry. It usually happens when there's too much rain, rivers can't contain the water, or during big storms. This excess water can cover streets, fields, and even homes, causing damage and making places temporarily underwater. Okay, do we understand? Flood is when a lot of water covers the land that is usually dry. It happens when there's too much rain, rivers overflow, or big storms. Okay, so we're going to be looking at causes of flooding. Flood can happen because of different reasons, okay? Heavy rain. When there's a lot of rain in a short time, it can overwhelm rivers and drains, leading to flooding. So excessive rainfall can lead to flooding, especially in areas with poor drainage. Do we understand? River overflow. Rivers may overflow their banks when there is too much water and it can't fit in the riverbed. So when rivers cannot contain the volume of water, they overflow their banks, causing flooding. Okay? Storms and hurricanes. Big storms or hurricanes can bring heavy rain and push seawater onto the land, causing coastal flooding. Okay? Coastal areas can experience floods due to strong surge during hurricanes. Melting snow. In places with lots of snow, when it melts, it can make rivers swell and flood in the spring. Okay? Melting snows in mountainous regions can lead to river flooding in spring. So these are the causes of flooding. We now know the causes of flooding, right? So we're going to be looking at prevention of flood. Prevention of flood. Build dams and levees. We create barriers and walls near rivers to keep the water from overflowing. Okay, flood barriers, building barriers and levees along rivers to control water flow. Floodplain zoning. We decide where it's safe to build houses and where it's not, so we don't build in places that often flood. Restricting constructions in flood-prone areas. Okay? Better drainage. We make sure drains and canals are working properly to carry water away from cities. Maintaining effective drainage systems to reduce water accumulation. Do we understand that? Early warnings. We use technology to predict when a flood might happen and warn people so they can be prepared. Okay? Using technology to provide advance notice of flooding. Do we understand that? Use technology to warn people about possible floods. So these are the possible ways flood can be prevented. Okay? Do we understand that? Prevention of flood. Build dams and levees. Floodplain zoning. Better drainage and early warnings. So today's lesson on flooding and erosion. We understood everything, right? We looked at the meaning of erosion, agents of erosion, types of erosion, prevention of erosion, right? Then we looked at the meaning of flooding, causes of flooding, prevention of flood, and we understood everything. Okay, good. So next we are going to be looking at our assignment. I'm sure we're going to be able to do our assignment, right? Okay, good.